Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Alexa, and in today's video, I will be doing something very special for today. And I thought that for this day, it would be very special, very cool if I did my own little book recommendation master list. So I have compiled my favorite books from every single genre, whether it's fantasy, romance, mystery, men, YA, or adult. I've picked out about 8 to 12 books that are my favorites in every category, and I'm gonna recommend them to you guys, but I will do a quick description without ranting about them, because it's just, or else it's gonna take forever. But I just thought I would give you guys recommendations, and especially if you're trying to get into reading and you know that you like a specific genre or a specific age group for reading, then this is definitely gonna be the video. So the first category I'm gonna recommend you guys some books for is adult romance standalones, and these are not necessarily not in a series at all, but most of these are in either a standalone or they're a part of an interconnected standalone series, which is a series where you don't necessarily need to read every single book in that series to understand what's happening like later on, but every book is centered around a different character finding their true love and then, like, you know, getting married, all of that. So some of these, like, I either haven't read the others in that series, or I thought the others were good, okay, but I really want to recommend my favorite in that series that is like one of my all-time favorite books. So yeah, let's get into these books. First in this category, we have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle. This one is one of my favorite funny rom-coms ever. This one is about these two people who are currently engaged, and I think the guy's parents is paying for their upcoming wedding, but they're both falling out of love with each other. So they decide to kind of start these prank wars, because neither of them want to be the one that breaks off the engagement, because then they're gonna have to pay the deposit for everything that has to be like canceled for the wedding that's already been booked. So they kind of start pranking each other to see which one is going to be the first one to break and say, okay, this engagement is off. And you see them slowly falling back in love. So it's just back in love, yeah. So it's just a funny, cute rom-com, and kind of it's super fun seeing them both fall in love with each other back. It's a fun rom-com, and honestly, you're gonna have a great time while reading this. After that, we have Ghosted by J.M. Dower. This one is a book that I read back in 2022, I think, and I've been really itching to reread this. It was such a fun read when I read it. It's kind of a second chance romance, single mom romance. Basically, both of the main characters were together before, and when she got pregnant, when they were, I think, either in their teens or like early adult years, he got a big role for, like, his dream was to be an actor. He got a big role for like the superhero, and he went and took the role. But basically this is him like 10 years later, 12 years later, realizing his mistake and being like, I was like doing drugs and like I was stuck in the Hollywood world all these years, but I realized that what I really want in life is to go back with my family. And it's those two characters falling back in love with each other and him trying to be a father for his daughter. After that, we have Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. This one is not technically in an interconnected standalone series, but you do see these two characters in Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I know, one of these two characters, but you do see the characters from Forget Me Not in this book. And basically this is a rivals to lover romance. Like, they're kind of both in the, I think it's Manhattan Pops Orchestra or something like that, or yeah, Manhattan Pops, which is the fictional version of like the New York Pops, which is an orchestra in New York, and she's a cello player, I'm pretty sure. No, she's a violinist, he's a cello player, and like he was kind of her childhood crush because he used to be in this band, but they hate each other. But then they start kind of having to work together, and then it's just absolutely perfect. The chemistry between these two characters had me giggling and kicking my feet. Like, this is, if you want a good rivals to lovers romance, if you're a bit of a music nerd, played music as a kid, still play music, and you just love tension and like yearning between two characters, this book is perfect for you. After that, we have Unloved by Peyton Corrine. This one is the second book in one of her series. I don't know what the name of the series is, but it is this kind of cute but also kind of angsty romance about this girl girl who used to be in this really, really toxic relationship, and it kind of is for some part of the book, trying to realize her worth, realize that she deserves a lot better than what she currently has, and she kind of falls in love with this guy who like she is tutoring. And I'm not explaining it really well, but just it's a really fun romance, especially if you're kind of an eldest daughter who reads romance and just love reading, and you love a bit of an angst-filled romance. This one is really good for you. After that, we have Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This one is a part of the When in Rome series. It is the third book and it is my favorite one in the series. It immediately became one of my god tier books, and I just loved it so much. Basically about Emily, who works at not a kindergarten, but works at an elementary school, and she has kind of a rival, nemesis. They used to be academic rivals, and now they kind of are teacher rivals. They both work at the same school. His name is Jack Bennett, and at some point in the summer, she's like, okay, I'm gonna write a romance book, a historical romance. And then at some point, she's like, okay, I'm gonna send it to this literary agent, and then accidentally sends it to the principal of her school, who is kind of a, not conservative in the political way, but just like traditional conservative way. And he's her neighbor, and then he kind of hears her scream in panic, and he's like, what's wrong? Because he thinks she's getting murdered. I'm pretty sure at least that's what happens. And then basically he tries to help her, and it's just two rivals falling in love and realizing that they thought that they hated each other for the wrong reasons. After that, we have Passenger Princess by Morgan Elizabeth. This book is perfect for the romance reader girlies. It is about this girl who wins Miss America, the Miss America pageant, and at least I think that's the name of the pageant, and like she had never done a pageant before, randomly did it for her friends, and then she has to go on the tour of the US where like they stop in every single city, but she has to do it, state, and she has to do it on as a road trip with her bodyguard, who is a guy that kind of hates her because he thinks she's all like la 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 pink and like super shallow, but you come to realize that she's not a super shallow human being, and she actually has great morals, and he disliked her for the wrong reason. After this, we have Before Dawn by Jada West. This one is the second out of 2 books in the series that I can't remember the name of. I haven't read the first one yet. I read this one as an ARC, and it is one of the most perfect books I've ever read. It is so good, and go read it on Kindle Unlimited. Like, it's available there if you do have it. And it is about this girl Abigail, who basically gets out of a toxic relationship, moves to New York, and just starts a new life there. And then all of a sudden there's this one billionaire who's completely obsessed with her. His name is Mikkel, and he kind of makes her realize that she's worth a lot more than she did, and that her standards are so low, and he basically learns how he basically is perfect for her. He finds out that she has anxiety and endometriosis, and he decides that he needs to learn as much as he can about both, and so that he can help her in the best way ever when she's having a rough day, and he's just the perfect man. After that, we have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bodum Young. This is a book that made me fall in love with the pregnancy trope, like accidental pregnancy trope, which is crazy. You guys know I used to not like and like be the #1 hater of the pregnancy trope, and now I kind of love it if it's done in the right way. And it's this perfect book that it's the perfect mix of kind of angst and both characters learning how they're gonna be parent and how to become better people and dealing with living with each other for the first time, but also they realize that they're falling in love, and it's just this perfect, sweet, amazing book, and I love it so much. After that, we have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This one is a book that is based off of the Sleepless in Seattle movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's basically this guy, Aiden, who has this radio show where he basically gives people love advice, even though he doesn't really believe in love. And at one point he receives a call from a 12-year-old, Lucy's daughter, who is like, my mom is like lonely, blah, 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 like she needs to find someone, I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And then by the way, this is without her mom knowing that she's calling, and then her mom picks up the phone and she's like, I'm so sorry for my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And then after the call, like her call goes viral. So then they decide to have a segment on his radio show where they try to find her someone, like find her true love through that radio show, and then they start realizing that they actually like each other, and she hates the people that she's going on dates with, he hates the people that she's going on dates with, and that they just have the perfect banter, and it's such a cute, fun romance book, and I love it so much. I loved it so much that I usually, if I read a book on my Kindle, if I buy it, I won't buy it until like a few months later. I bought it 3 days after reading it because I just loved it so much. After that, we have the only dark romance book in this entire video, because I'm usually not the type of person who's gonna rate a actual like dark romance 5 stars. I usually like rate them 4 stars. They're fun, but they're not like my favorites. Like, they're my favorites to pick up when I don't know what to read or I'm in a mood to read a quick fun book, but they're not my favorites, and like I don't feel like the book is a 5 stars. But this book is called Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This one became an immediate favorite, so much that I've listened to the audiobook twice. I haven't read it like in paperback or Kindle yet, but if you do have the option to read it between either like ebook, paperback, or audiobook, I definitely recommend the audiobook. Both narrators are just so perfect for these roles. This is kind of a stalker romance, but I'm usually not the biggest fan of stalker romances because I find them really creepy and I'm terrified of being stalked in real life. But this one kind of does it. It's in a way that like he realizes that what he's doing is wrong, and I kind of like stalker romances when it's like you go to the guy's point of view and he's like, actually, why am I doing this? This is actually so creepy. If I found out that like someone was stalking her, I would want to like protect her from everyone else. Like, why am I doing this? But at the same time, he's so obsessed with her that he can't stop. But in this one, honestly, the girl somehow is okay with him stalking her because she knows him in real life. So it's and it's really, really funny. I will say it's one of the funniest books I've ever read. So it's a funny stalker dark romance, and it's just so perfect. And I love. I loved Jacob Morgan as Josh. It was so funny, and I just love this book, and I need you guys to all go listen to it right now, please. Also, it's under 15 hours, so you can listen to it with your Audible, you can listen to it with your Spotify premium 15-hour listening time. Like, it's under the 15 hours. After that, we have every single adult contemporary romance that Ali Hazelwood has ever written. Every single one of her books is in this video. And actually, I love her so much, and I recommend every single one of her books. The Love Hypothesis is it's a STEM romance. He is kind of a new, he's a young graduate graduate program supervisor. She is a graduate student. He is not her graduate professor. Like, he's not her supervisor. She has someone else as her supervisor, but they're fake dating. And it is so fun, so cute, and I love it. This one is kind of a NASA romance. She's a aero engineer. What is she again? Neuroengineering. She has a neuroengineering project at NASA, and they both have been texting each other for years online through anonymous, like, they don't know that they've been texting each other forever, and she kind of has a crush on his online persona. He kind of has a crush on her online, but in real life they hate each other, and it's kind of just perfect. They hate each other, like, you see them hating each other in real life, and then you see them being friends and kind of in love with each other when they're texting, so it's just absolutely perfect, and go read it. This is 3 quick novellas written by Ali Hazelwood. These are all forced proximity. They're really perfect. It's fun, short reads, and actually I'm really dying to reread these. This one is another fake dating one, and actually it's probably my second favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I just love this one so much. It's so fun, and honestly, Jack Smith is my second favorite MMC, like, from Ali Hazelwood. He is just perfect, and I love him. And yeah, Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This one is kind of a forbidden/secret romance. Basically, he's trying to buy her company, so they can't really be dating, but they end up dating and, well, spending more time with each other, and then deciding to be kind of like friends with benefits, and then they realize that they're in love with each other. Like in every book, honestly. I don't know why I keep saying they realize that they're in love with each other. Duh, it's romance books. My favorite Ali Hazelwood Hazelwood book ever, and honestly my favorite book of all time, Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This is a college romance. He is a professional swimmer. She's a diver. He is an Olympic winner, like Olympic swimmer, probably top in the world. She's an NCAA championship diver. Next we have Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. This one is one of my favorite cowboy books of all time. It is a rivals, yeah, it is an enemies to lovers romance, and like genuine enemies, like they hated each other forever, but he is also her best friend's older brother, and he's a single dad and she becomes his daughter's nanny. So it's like super forced proximity. They hate each other, but they have to like each other because his daughter loves her, she's great, and it's just perfect, and the tension between the two is amazing and I love it. After that we have Picking Daisies on Sunday by Liana Chamkati. This one is a book that is set in New York. It is kind of in second chance romance, but more they used to best friends to strangers to lovers, but they're also fake dating, and it's just such a sweet, fun romance. I read it last summer. I've been obsessed with it ever since. It's so cute. I really need you guys to go read it. Lastly in this category we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one is a kind of second chance romance. Basically Harriet and Wynne used to be engaged, and they broke off their engagement because they were doing distance and it was just too rough on them, but then they go to their friend's summer vacation house for the summer, and they haven't told their friends yet that they have broken up, so they have to pretend that they're still together, and it's kind of them realizing that the reason why they broke up was kind of a dumb reason and that they're still in love with each other. That concludes it for this romance section. Honestly, I'm gonna need to go through the other books so much quicker because I have too many books for me to be taking this much time per book. Y'all, I'm sorry for how long this video is being so far. I've decided to remove 2 categories. I'm only gonna do YA and fantasy because anyways that's basically only what I read. Also for the fantasy, just if you're like, Alexa, why are you not mentioning Fourth Wing or Avatar? Honestly, it's because everyone recommends those two. Everyone recommends those 2 series, and I'm trying to not recommend the same series as everyone else because everybody who is watching this video has either probably heard of or already read or thought about reading those 2 series. So I'm not gonna be recommending them because everyone else recommends them. But yeah, now onto the romance series part of this category of this video. These are all adult romances, by the way. So technically the age of like the recommended age for these books, I guess is it 16 or 18 plus? I don't know. Anyways, it's not YA. If you want, I can make a separate YA book video or like a TikTok, but I don't have that many YA recs, so that's why I'm not including them in this video. I have maybe like 4. Okay, so the first recommendation is every single book that Lauren Asher has ever written, plus the, just add the Dirty Air series here. Okay, so Dirty Air series is an F1 driver romance. There are 4 books. I think it's Throttled, Collide, Wrecked, Redeemed. My favorites are Collide and Redeemed, and I recommend you guys go read it because that is a series that literally got me into my favorite sport ever, which is F1, and I'm currently watching, it's my 4th season of the sport and I'm obsessed. After that we have her series that is the Dreamland Billionaire series. This one is a billionaire romance, of course, and it is about the 3 Kane brothers. Their grandpa dies, and for each of them to get their inheritance they have to, they have to do there's a certain thing that they have to do to be able to get that their inheritance. In this one he has to this one is Rowan Kane, and he has to create a new land in their family's theme park because it's basically like they owned Disney World. In this one he has to get married and have a baby, and so he has a fake, this one is like marriage of convenience. In this one he has to spend a summer at the family's lake house, but the thing is there's also someone else who lives at the in the guest house of that lake house, or in the lake house, and it is his I guess ex-girlfriend slash ex-best friend, and they were no longer talking. They hadn't talked in like 13 years or something, and it's just perfect. This one is my favorite in the series. Then we have her Lakefront Billionaires, which takes place in Lake Wisteria. This one is rivals to lovers, but they have to work together on a design project. He's a contractor. He owns a contracting company. She owns a design firm, and she used to have a design, interior design show. And this one is forced proximity with basically she becomes his son's nanny, and it is just perfect. Out of the 2 that are out so far, this one is my favorite, but I have a feeling that the 3rd one that's coming out in May, no, It's coming out in August. That one's gonna be my favorite. After that, we have all of the Ana Huang books I've read. I'm about to start her If Love series, but I haven't read it yet, so I can't recommend it. But we have the sorry, so many books in my hands and it's too much. Twisted series, Brother's Best Friend, Bodyguard, ex-princess / queen. They kind of hate each other, but she's his sister's best friend. Fake dating. At least I'm pretty sure it's fake dating. Is it fake dating? Am I going crazy, or is it fake dating? No, it's forced proximity, because she realizes that she has a stalker. She's an influencer, and basically he owns a security company. He's like, oh well, you're gonna have to move in with me so that you can be like protected at all times, which duh, that's clearly the only way that she could be protected. I mean, why did I make that face? Actually. Then these are the only two that I own of the Kings of Sin series. This one is a Marriage of Convenience. Second one, I think they're already married, but they're trying to save their marriage. I can't remember what King of... Wait, so it's King of Wrath? King of... Okay, wait. Let me go on Goodreads. King of Wrath is a Marriage of Convenience. Okay, no. King of Pride is not. They're saving their marriage. King of Pride is a opposites attract romance. They kind of hate each other, but also they have a really good, they have really good physical chemistry. And then King of Greed. Actually, I really love this one. This one is basically they were married, and then she decides that because he's basically kind of been ignoring her and being super distant, so she decides to move out and file for divorce, and then he makes it his goal to save their marriage. So it's kind of like second chance romance, but they're still together kind of. And then King of Sloth is a kind of reformed playboy / kind of opposite attract, I guess. He's kind of a golden retriever and she's a like girl boss workaholic, so it's really great. I think this one is probably so far my favorite out of all four. This one and King of Greed were my favorites, but I'm really excited for King of Envy, which is coming out next Monday, yeah. The Knockmount series by Lucy Score. So first we have Things We Never Got Over. This is about Knox and Naomi. Naomi she'd always been on the run. Naomi kind of runs away from her own wedding. She's a runaway bride, and then shows up to a small town after she gets a call from her niece being like, hey, I don't know where mom is. She shows up to that town. Thing is, she's her sister's identical twin, and her sister is hated by the town. Then everybody starts hating her, and this guy Knox starts screaming at her, and she's like, hey, my name's Naomi, I'm not my sister. And she ends up not having, basically her sister. She then meets up with her sister. Her sister steals everything she has. She has car and cash, so she no longer has any money. She has nowhere to go, and basically she ends up becoming Knox's next door neighbor, I think. Anyways, they hate each other, opposites attract, enemies to lovers. He's very grumpy sunshine, and I love this book. Things We Never Hide from the Light. This one is about Nash, who is Knox's brother, and this girl who is basically, there's a mystery, by the way, there is a mystery aspect in every one of these, so it's kind of like romantic suspense. But in all the mystery that happens in book one, there is an agent, I don't know if it's FBI or whatever, or police, but she has to end up staying in the town and trying to solve the mystery, and basically she stays in the town, and she's like always been a city girl, but then she starts falling in love with the small town life and a small town boy, Nash. So yeah, this is a really good book. Out of all three, I think first one is still my least favorite, second one is my second favorite, and then Things We Hide from the Light is my favorite. It is about Lucian and Sloane. Lucian, and basically she's a small town library. I think they've maybe not known each other forever, but they've known each other for a while, and they've been pining after each other for a while, and he's always like in and out of town, and she's at like the librarian, always there, and they kind of run in the same circles because he's the adopted, not fully adopted, but like he's basically in the third brother of Knox and Nash, who both of them are with Sloane's two best friends. So she kind of ends up having to hang out with him a lot, even though they kind of not hate each other, but kind of dislike each other, and then they start falling in love. Yeah. The Maple Hill series. This one is Icebreaker, Wildfire. My cousin currently is borrowing Wildfire, so I don't have it here, and Daydream. Daydream is my all-time favorite in this series. You've seen this one over and over everywhere, but honestly, out of all three, I will say this one is my least favorite. I really love both Wildfire Wildfire and Daydream. I think that people really love to think that, like, you know, they always say on TikTok, like, oh, Icebreaker is like so spicy, blah blah blah, like, oh my god, it's just spice, no plot. Number one, that is the most false thing I've ever heard. Okay, this book talks about abusive relationship between an abusive skating partner of Anastasia. Talks about eating disorders. Basically, this girl having no, like, she feels like she has no self-worth basically, and she's regaining that slowly because she meets Nate, this guy, and basically realizes that she actually does have worth and she deserves way more than her skating partner. And yeah, basically I hate the reputation of that this book gets, because there's not even that much spice. I'm sorry, I've read books, like, this is really mild. Like, I'm sorry, compared to most, there's barely any scenes compared to any other book. The percentage is maybe 4 or 5% throughout this entire book. So people need to learn to shut up, from like maybe 10%, but the other 90% is really good plot and character development. Wildfire is really good, but my favorite one out of the series is Daydream. I am Hallie. Hallie is me. And I mean, Henry has been my favorite character. Like, Henry and Hallie are both my favorite characters in the series, but this entire series I've been in love with Henry, and I still am, and I love this book so much, and you guys don't understand how much this book means to me. Windy City series, this one you guys know I've talked about over and over again. I love it so much. This one is written by Liz Tomford. There's 4 books. There is a 5th book that is coming out on May 20th, and the first book is technically not the first book. There was originally a book about 2 other characters that the author decided to unpublish, so you can't find it on the internet anymore, sadly, but this is currently the 4 books that are currently out. I said currently way too many times. This one is kind of a forbidden romance. She's a flight attendant for his hockey team's plane, and they're not supposed to be like together. It's a huge thing, like no anyways, that, like, they can't fraternize, I guess. And she also kind of hates Evan, because she's like, oh my god, he's this egotistical, douchey, probably narcissistic guy, but he turns out to be not like he seemed. Then we have The Right Move. This one is one of my favorites in the series. It is about Ryan and Indy. It is fake dating. Indy is this basically girly who loves to read romance, who finds her boyfriend of 3 years, I think, cheating on her, and then she ends up having to move in with her best friend's brother because he has a spare room. She doesn't have anywhere to go to, and they end up having to fake date because he has a really bad reputation with his team, and he really wants to get, I think, the captain position for his, I don't know, I forgot, but like, they have to fake date, and then he ends up being a really good guy with her, and she's like, why are you doing all these things? And he's like, this is the bare minimum. And also they kind of date as a revenge because he's her ex's favorite basketball player. Caught Up, this one is a forced proximity. Basically, she is his baseball team's general manager's daughter, and she ends up deciding to take a job for the summer, which is being the nanny for his son, because he has had 8 million different nannies. None of them were good enough for his son, as he says. Like, he deemed them not good enough, and basically she ends up taking this position for the summer before having to start working at this like Michelin star restaurant, because she's a Michelin star chef, and she takes this job for the summer and ends up having to live at his house, and it's just perfect and amazing, and I love Kai and Miller. Lastly, this is Play Along, my favorite book in the series. This is about Kennedy and Isaiah, and basically he's been in love with Kennedy. Isaiah's been in love with Kennedy forever, since he saw her the first day when she was crying in the men's bathroom because she thought it would be empty, I think, or was she crying in the women's bathroom? I can't remember. But basically she's crying in the bathroom, he finds her, they talk, and she ends up working at the team. I think she ends up being a doctor at his team, and basically he's been obsessed with her for years, and then at one night they're in Vegas and they end up getting married because they're both drunk. So then they both decide, okay, well, I guess we're like, the word is out, we're gonna have to pretend to be married, and he's like, oh, this is my dream, because he's been basically asking her to marry him for the past million years, and he's the one who convinced her to marry him, and she's kind of like reluctant to. After that, we have the entire Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I don't own all the books. I think I'm missing 3. Yeah, I'm missing the last 2 Calloway Sisters book and Some Kind of Perfect. But this is a series that I would definitely recommend reading. Trigger warnings. There was a lot of trigger warnings when it comes to addiction, with one character having a sex addiction, and another character having being an alcoholic. But it is a series that follows these 6 characters, 3 sisters, and then 3 other characters, like 3 guys. And basically the Addicted series follows Lily and Lo. They've been not together forever, but basically each other's best friend, each other's everything since they were kids. Like since they were, I think something like 5 or 6. And then once you get to the Calloway Sisters series, it follows, so there's Kiss the Sky and Fuel the Fire that follow Rose and Connor. And then you have Hot House Flower and Long Way Down that follows Daisy and Reich. And this is one of my favorite series of all time. I want to reread it soon, and I need to read the Like Us series, but I'm afraid that it won't feel the same that like these characters feel. But like this is a series that I will recommend to everyone over and over again. It is amazing, and it just feels like you're watching an HBO show. Next we have the kind of Elsie Silver universe, although I haven't finished the Gold Rush Ranch series. I loved her entire Rose Hill series and the entire Chestnut Spring series. And the Chestnut Spring series follows basically the Eden brothers, Eaton, not Eden. Not to be mixed up with the Edens series, E-D-E-N. This one is the E-A-T-O-N. This series takes place in Chestnut Springs, Alberta, and basically it follows Rhett Eden, Cade Eden, Jasper, I forgot what his last name is. Then you have Theo Silva, then Jasper Gervais, Theo Silva, and then you have Bo Eden. Then you have the Rose Hill series. This one takes place in, I think it's in BC, Rose Hill, BC. Let me check the map at the start. Does this take place in British Columbia? Okay, yeah. The Rose Hill series takes place in BC, British Columbia, but it's really close to Alberta. But this one is the third one, but I think the first book is Wild Love, which is oh my god, I'm forgetting the characters' names. Anyways, I just love this series so much. This one is my favorite, and in this series, Theo's book is my favorite, and I recommend you guys go all read them right now, all on Kindle Unlimited. The Ruinous Love trilogy by Bryn Weaver. This follows all 3 of the, what is the last name of the brother? I can't remember what their last name is, but Rowan. The first book is Rowan, the second book is Lachlan, and third book is Fionn. They're all, I think it's Kane, right? Rowan Kane? Wait, I can't remember their last names, sorry. I know that like last names isn't anything big, but like I hate that I can't remember their last names, but I think it's Kane. Rowan Kane, Lachlan Kane, and Fionn Kane. They're all Irish brothers, and they live in the US, I guess Boston area. And every single book is about different serial unalivers, I guess. Well, not serial unalivers. That's not true. They're not serial unalivers in every book. But first 2 books follow serial unalivers, and the third, I'm saying that because YouTube. But third book, they're not necessarily, well, actually no, one of them is a serial unaliver. Never mind. And the other one is a doctor. But the third book is, the first and third are my favorites. I think the third I prefer a bit, like Scythe and Spyro, I prefer a bit more than Butcher and Blackbird. I didn't love Leather and Lark as much, but I still really enjoyed it. But it's a really good series, dark rom-com, similar vibe to Lights Out, but just a bit more gory, but it's still really fun, quick reads. Lastly, we have The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. This one is it's not this book, it's the Vancouver Storm series. It's the only one that I own. But in this series, the first one is, why am I blanking all of a sudden? The first one. Yeah, the first one is Behind the Net. Then we have The Fake Out, and then it's The Wingman. And then Gloves Off is coming out in the month of, I can't remember, The Wingman is coming out sometime this year. Gloves Off. And I think Gloves Off is the last one in this series. But I really love this series so much. It's one of my favorite series of all time. This one and The Wingman are my 2 favorites. And if you're a hater of the third act breakup like me, you will love this series and every Stephanie Archer book, because none of them have the third act breakup. All characters communicate and stay together. So you don't stress about, oh, what's the miscommunication gonna be? There's no third act breakup. So it's perfect. So yeah, I think first one is, she's his assistant. And this one is fake dating. third one, it is basically not second chance romance, but like best friends to lovers. And third one I don't. But yeah, that is that for the romance category. I can't believe that we still have 2 other categories and I have almost an hour of footage. But worst case, this video is 2 hours long. It's just gonna be a while to edit. All right, I took a tiny break because my brain is killing me from recording for an hour, and we're just like halfway done. But I'm trying to ignore that. Honestly, no, we're more than halfway done. I only have 12 plus 8, 20 books left. Well, some are series, but like none of them are interconnected series, so I'm just gonna talk about the series as a whole. But first, now we're at the adult fantasy series part of the video. Some of these were marketed as young adult when they first started, and ended up being not young adult at all. So there are still in young adult sections, and I'm like, this young adult is like 12, so this should not be put in the young adult section. But hey, so these are books that I consider to be adult and not young adult. So I know I said I wouldn't talk about Agatar, but I'm not gonna not talk about Throne of Glass. This is the least popular, but this is my favorite series that Sarah J Maas has ever written, but it's one of her least popular ones. I know it's becoming more popular, like, and I know it was never not popular, but like it wasn't super popular. This is basically her first series she ever wrote. This one originally came out, like the first copy came out in 2012. This edition was published in 2023, but it came out in 2012, the first book, this one, and it is basically an entire fantasy series, and it starts off YA, ends up being adult, so definitely read it if you were an adult. But yeah, it's a really good series. I think it's her least romance related series. Like, I would say both Crescent City and Akatar I would both consider being romantasy series, but this one is more fantasy with a romance subplot, and it is one of her series with the best world building and my favorite series of hers. Next we have The Light Lark by Alex Astor. I know this is technically considered YA, but I would not recommend this to like 12 to 16-year-old. Well, like 12-year-olds shouldn't be reading this series, you know? Like, it shouldn't be in the YA. Hey, this is a series about this island that appears only once every 100 years. Wait, okay. Welcome to the Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game, where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and to save themselves and their realms, one ruler will die. To survive, Isla Crowned must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. And this one is so far there's only 3 books out, but there's a 4th one coming out called, I think it's Grimm and Oro, which is both of her love interests. I'm a Grimm girly, by the way. I love Grimm. He is amazing. He's my husband. I love him so. But I cannot wait for I think it's gonna be 4 books, like 4 books in the series that are like traditional, because I think Oro Grimm is kind of a like, it's a spin-off book, but this, like, the main series, there's gonna be 4 books, I'm pretty sure, and I cannot wait for the last book to come out. It's supposed to come out this year. I'm excited for it to be announced, but I need it right now. But I definitely recommend it if you want an adult book that really feels YA and that is more on the romance side than romantasy. After that, we have a book that I would call kind of a gothic dark romance fantasy, and it is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily it's not hyper fantasy, but there's fantasy elements. Like, there is a parasite in that world that like takes over people that doesn't exist in our world. It's completely made up, so that's the fantasy aspect. And I wouldn't call it just a dark romance, so I would call it a dark gothic romantasy, but like really more on the romance than the fantasy, so there's a bit of world building. But this book is so good. It is one of my favorite books. I think it's my favorite book I read last year, and it is such a good read, and it will creep you out as you are reading it. When I read it, I'm not kidding, like, it took me 5 to like almost a week to read, which usually it doesn't take me that long to read books, especially if I'm super into it, because every night when I was in bed about like reading, trying to read and like calm myself before falling asleep, I would start reading it, and then I would get creeped out and get the heebie-jeebies and then have to put it down because I was so creeped out. And I was like, I don't like scary books, but this one is kind of scary and creepy, but in a way that I couldn't stop reading and I absolutely loved. And I loved Deverick. Dr. Death? Professor or death. I don't know. I need him, and I need to reread this book very soon. Honestly, I'm probably more likely to do a reread in the fall, like with the spooky vibes. It's gonna be perfect, and I'm hoping that I can have the actual paperback so that I can read it and like own it by the time that I read it. After that, we have the Divine Rivals Letters of Enchantment duology by Rebecca Ross. This one, this duology is one of the most beautifully written fantasy series I've ever read. It almost doesn't even feel fantasy, like in the best way possible. Like, you know when you read a book that you just, it doesn't feel fantasy because it doesn't feel like a fantasy because it's so beautifully written. It feels more like a fairy tale, and it kind of has, it's hauntingly beautiful. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just such a good series, and it will make you cry, and the writing just feels poetic. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but Rebecca Ross has amazing writing. After that, we have the Assistant to the Villain series by why am I blanking all of a sudden? Like, I knew this author's name earlier, but why can't I remember now? Let me check. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Meir. This series is a really fun fantasy series that feels like you're reading a contemporary romance because the world building isn't complicated. It's really simple world building in the best way possible. Like, it's a perfect light book where you have a lot of fun. Every character, even the side characters, like, you can't choose a favorite character because you love them all so much, and you want to reread it over and over again, and you want to read them within like the first 2 days of like starting the book. Yeah, like you'll read the first book in one day and you'll want to read the next book like on the second day. And the third book is coming out in August, I'm pretty sure. So I cannot wait to read that one. And I'm obsessed with this book series. I read it back in August, and it was at the start of this series becoming popular. And honestly, I was just obsessed with it from the second I started that audiobook. And yeah, it's just perfect, and you guys all need to go read it right now. After that, we have Blood of Hercules by Jocelyn Mass. This one is currently the first one and the only one out, but the second one is coming out in November, I'm pretty sure, which is gonna be Bonds of Hercules. This one is such a funny fantasy series, and I've seen people say that it's like a really spicy fantasy series. Like, I've seen people say like, oh my god, prepare for that. Y'all, there is one spice scene that is 3 pages at the end of the book. So don't go in like, if you're a spice reader, don't go in thinking that it's gonna be like a super spicy book. I didn't go in thinking that. Like, I went in knowing nothing, and it was absolutely like the perfect reading experience, knowing next to nothing about this book. But just go into this book thinking you're gonna have a fun time, and it's gonna be a really funny book. And honestly, as I was reading this, I was like seeing Alexis doing the Crucible, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know how she does it. Like, she's built different. Like, I would not survive this. Yeah, no, duh, I would not survive this. It's literally like the Crucible, the challenge that they have to do in this book, it's literally made for humans not to survive this. It would only be like, it's made for Spartans, which are built different than humans, and it's made for them to survive but not thrive at all. So duh, I would not be able to survive this. But this one is kind of almost a lights out if it was a fantasy book and also had Greek mythology. So I would definitely recommend you read it right now, because it has a very great cast of characters, and our main character, Alexis, is hilarious and amazing and a girl boss. After that, we have the Bonds That Tie series by Jay Bree. I've talked about it before in many videos. No, actually no, I've only talked about it in one video. I don't even know what I was saying. But this one is a very fun and bingeable 6-book series that you will want to read in an entire week, and you will read in 1 week. It is a series. It is a kind of fantasy, kind of dark fantasy, but like, think of, I guess it's kind of a dark romance, not really that dark, but that has fantasy aspects to it. Like, it's a regular world like Canon Unlimited romance that has some fantasy aspect to the book. Like, it's not just fantasy, because I wouldn't really characterize it as a I don't know. It's more of a romance with a fantasy subplot. But yeah, I definitely recommend it if you want a fun bingeable series on Kindle Unlimited. After that, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This one is a big one. It's a thick girl. How many pages is it actually? It is 690. Now, if you don't like cliffhangers and you don't like waiting a while between books, wait until the fall to read this, or even the winter, because this one is coming out on the second one in the series is coming out in February of 2026. It's originally supposed to come out in October. But this one is a romantasy, kind of, but not really. This one is more of a fantasy with a romance subplot, I would say. today, and the way I would recommend it is if you enjoyed Fourth Wing but want a book that has similar vibes but still feels like it's a different world building and like kind of has dragons but in a completely different way, and just want a bit of a Fourth Wing feeling but just enough of a feeling that it's like giving you those same vibes but will still feel like a complete different book. Like it doesn't feel like a Fourth Wing copy. This one is perfect for you. It is here. The best, I don't know how to describe it because it's just so long, and like sometimes if a book is really long and has such a complex plot, it's difficult to explain and like difficult to summarize in 1 minute. But the quick 1-sentence summary is: the best-selling sensation When the Moon Hatched is a fast-paced fantasy romance featuring an immersive, vibrant world with mysterious creatures, a unique magic system, and a love that blazes through the ages. And it's so good. I really recommend you read it if you liked Throne of Glass and Fourth Wing. After that, we have Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. The way I would recommend this one is if you enjoyed Caraval but wished it was a bit more adult and less young adult, and wished it was more centered around romance than the fantasy part, this one is for you. Like if you wished Caraval was an adult romantasy, this one is for you. It's kind of it is a romance where paranormal romance that takes place, I think, in like the 1900s, 1800s, like early 1900s. But basically it is about this girl who loses her mom and finds out that like her mom was in huge debt, and she's about to go tell her sister, and then she finds out that her sister has actually enrolled in these games called Phantasma, where one person will win, like I think it's like a wish, any wish, and most people actually die while doing these challenges. And she's like, oh no, I'm not gonna let her do that. She's gonna have to go drop out. And she decides to go and join these challenges, and she meets this one ghost called Blackwell, Phantom, I don't know what he is. He's a paranormal being named Blackwell, and they kind of have a bargain. And the Phantasma games are kind of like Caraval. It's really like they have 7 different, is it 7 different or 9? 7 or 9 different, 9 different levels in the game, because it's like to kind of go through like the 9 different levels of hell, 9 depths of hell, I don't know. But it's really, really good, and it's a quick read, and its sequel just came out, and they're both available on Kindle Unlimited, so you definitely should go read it. After that, we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This one is a romantasy, more of a romance with a fantasy subplot, but is it an Omegaverse romance? Not really. He's a wolf, like a werewolf, I guess, and she's the vampire bride. No, not vampire bride. She's like the vampire queen or something, or the vampire princess. But basically they both have to marry each other to create an alliance between both of their worlds, because there is another group of people that is trying to that is their common enemy. So they decide to create an alliance so that both of their groups can rally together and beat this one dude, I guess. Well, not dude, like one group. But it is a really good introduction to fantasy, I would say, especially like paranormal romance, paranormal fantasy. Is it paranormal? I guess it is. But if you've only read romance and you want to introduce yourself to fantasy, this one is really good for you. Both this one and not Takeda if you read only dark romance and want to introduce yourself to more fantasy elements, but this one is perfect for you, especially if you love Ali Hazelwood. After that, we have Goldfinch, the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. You guys have heard me rave about this series over and over again. It is kind of a King Midas retelling where King Midas is kind of the villain, and it is just so perfect. I can't say much without spoiling it, because it is such a complex series that spans 6 books. Like I think it's like over 4,000 pages. So to sum it up in one sentence feels very wrong. So the best way that I could explain it to you guys is just the perfect series, you know? But yeah, this is my favorite fantasy series of all time. I love it so much. All the books are available on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure, and this one is the last book that is out. So it is a completed series. It will have you giggling, kicking your feet, being stressed in like high fantasy moments, and then there was other times that you will be sobbing and bawling your eyes out. So yeah, that was it for that section. I have one last section, and I'm sorry for how long this video is, by the way. I know I've already apologized, but I'm apologizing again. We have the YA fantasy section, so I'll be back. All right, guys, after one last break, we are back for the final section of this video. This video will have been one of the videos that is like not a reading vlog or a challenge that will have made me gone insane, because I don't include the 24-hour videos in this, like as I'm saying this, because I've had many failed 24-hour readathons that have not been posted because I've just been going crazy the entire time. But we have the last section, which is YA romance. Now, I don't read as much YA romance as I used to because I'm almost 20 and the type of romance that I lean towards is more adult romance, but these are some of my favorites that I read. Some of these I read when I was like 14, 15, like I was a lot younger, but they're still some of my favorites and I would definitely reread them if I didn't have so many books on my TBR, I would definitely reread them. First we have Six of Crows, the Six of Crows duology, not Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, but just Six of Crows. This series is one of the best YA fantasy series I have ever read. Genuinely, the world building, the characters, the story, the plot, like the pacing of the story, everything is exquisite. And Leigh Bardugo is one of the best writers of our generation, and you guys I cannot be proven wrong, okay? You guys need to read Six of Crows. It is a perfect mix of 6 different characters with different backgrounds that all, like, it's really an unlikely cast of characters that some that are unlikely to be friends, but they all end up being a found family, and it is just amazing. And especially if you like heist books, I will say, don't go into the first chapter thinking that you're gonna jump into the story, because in every book the first chapter is something completely different. Like, well, not completely different to the book, but the first chapter is not the same as the rest of the chapters. It is told from a completely different character's point of view, and it sets up our story. The first chapter will always confuse you in both books, so definitely read at least the first 5 chapters before making a decision about this book. But like, you guys can see how well loved this book is by how yellow compare it to this one or another paperback. Here you have, this one is a new paperback I bought last month. This one is a paperback I got in 2020. Like, I've read this book many times and you can see it by, like, I've brought it everywhere. You can see it by how yellow the pages are, and it's just so good, guys. I need to reread it. Every time I talk about the series, I need to reread it immediately. After that we have the Percy Jackson series. I didn't want to take it out of my shelves because the first book is on the bottom of this 10-book pile, but I have all of the Percy Jackson series. The only 2 I'm missing is the 2 new last 2 books of the new Percy Jackson trilogy that they added on to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. But I have 6 out of the 8 Percy Jackson and the Olympians book, all of the Heroes of Olympus, King Chronicles, Trials of Apollo, Magnus, Chase, and even some of the like spin-off books. But this series was my entire personality for a good year. I was binge reading those books so quickly. I still have to read the King Chronicles, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read them yet, but I want to. But this series is just, summer of 2020, these books were like from July to end of September 2020, I was only reading Percy Jackson books. I kid you not, I don't think I read any other book series in that time frame. I was only reading like Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, and then like Trials of Apollo book. And it just, even as like, I read it when I was the first book I just turned 15 when I read the book, the first Percy Jackson book, and I will say it is a middle grade series, but even my mom who read it, like, she was already in her 40s. She was already in her 40s when she read the first book, and my dad was also in his 40s when he read the series, and they were both obsessed with it. Like, no matter how old you are, you will love this series if you love a fun fantasy found family series. It is just perfect. After that we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I will say, I haven't finished Fearless yet, and none of the books that I have read are 5 stars, but it is still one of my favorite fantasy series. I know I've seen people like compare it to Red Queen, and I will say I wasn't as hooked on Red Queen when I first read it. I think I maybe need to give it a second chance, because I know this is based off of like a bit of Red Queen and the Hunger Games, this series. To the people saying that Red Queen was plagiarized and that she copied Powerless, Red Queen was released before Powerless. Red Queen was released a good 10 years before Powerless. But this series is just so good. It's a really fun fantasy series series, and I definitely recommend the audiobooks. They're really good, and I really am excited to read the last book, but I'm also scared. But even though it's not like, I will say, I struggle to rate YA fantasy 5 stars anymore because it just doesn't feel the same as it did when I was 15 or like 16, because I'm used to like books, adult fantasy, which has like more violence, more intense like battle scenes, and like a bit more angst. So it's definitely not the same as YA fantasy. So when you're used to adult fantasy, sometimes YA won't feel the same. But I will say, if I read this when I was 16 or 15, this would have been a 5-star for sure, and like my favorite series. After that, we have a series that I need to own and reread, a series that took over my life for a good week, and that is the Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. It is such an amazing YA series. Honestly, this series would still be a 5 stars if I read it today. If I started it today, this is one of the only few YA series that I'm for sure that if I'd never read before and I decided to start reading it in 2025, would still be a 5 stars. I would love it the same. And it's almost like if an adult fantasy series was a YA fantasy. Like, it has the same feel of an adult while still being YA and appropriately YA, you know, like it's not like a book that's characterized as YA but like should definitely be adult. Like, it's definitely still a YA romance, a YA fantasy series. And I will say it's less, like, even though it's less romance based, like I'm more of a romance reader now. I didn't used to be just a romance reader, but it is now like the genre that I prefer, romance or romance fantasy. This one is like definitely not a high fantasy, but an intense fantasy with a side, like romance is only a side plot, but it is so good. Even if it's not like romance is the main plot, it is still one of my favorite series of all time, and it is so good and everyone needs to read it. After that, we have These Violent Delights, well, the entire 1920s Shanghai series by Chloe Gone. This is kind of a Romeo and Juliet retelling with a bit of a like fantasy with a monster and kind of dystopian in 1920s Shanghai, where like it's not rival families, it's rival gangs, and it is so amazing. It is amazing. It is one of my favorite YA, well, I mean, it's in this series, it's in this like video, so yeah, it's one of my favorite YA fantasy series of all time, but I love it so much, and anyone who reads adult or YA fantasy needs to read this. It is so good, and it's just so good. And if you did like this and you want to read more of this author, she has another series. If you want to read like more adult, if you love this but you wish you could read like a more adult version, I recommend Immortal Longings by that one author. It is by that same author. It is really good, and it really shows how versatile her writing is. Is that a saying? I don't know. After that, we have a classic, which is the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black. This one is a series that I devoured in 3 days. I loved it so much. It was so good. I love Juden Carden. The letters, the fact that she never got the letters. This isn't even a spoiler, like, because it's so out of context, but it's just such a good series and so bingeable, such a fun read, and it will have you obsessed. After that, we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This one is a really good series. It's about this girl. Well, I will say I'm recommending this, but I'm recommending this as only having read the first book. I don't know about the other 2 books. I don't know if it'll still be a recommendation after I read the first 2, the second and third book, but as of now, I am definitely recommending this. It is so good. Last summer, I was in a reading slump and I still rated this a 5 stars. Okay, I was hating books. I was in a reading slump. I really was disliking books, but I loved this one. Read it in 2 days. It is a really good fantasy with a side plot of romance and mystery. It's really perfect. It almost feels a bit like a murder mystery. It's so good. And the last series / book that I'm recommending in this video is the ultimate recommendation, Shatter Me. This one is a series that I have recommended over and over again. This is a series that has been my favorite since 2020. I read the first 4 books in 2020, and then I read the 5th and the 6th one in the start of 2021, and I have been obsessed ever since. I have reread the series 6 times. I usually do a yearly reread. I'm just so obsessed with this book and book series that I just need to reread it every year, and no matter who you are, no matter what genre you read, you need to read this series. series. I am in love and have been in love with Aaron Warner for years. I can't believe that I'm literally the same age as Aaron Warner. That feels crazy to me because he turns 20 in the 5th book, I think, and I'm turning 20 in May. Like he turns 20 in April of that like book. I'm turning 20 in May. So like I'm literally the same age as him. And I remember reading it and I was like, oh my god, he's so much old. Like he's so much older than me because I was like 15 when I read it. But I will say it did give me a reality check when I realized that I was the same age as him. But it is so good. It is the perfect mix of romance, found family, dystopian. It is just so perfect and you guys all need to read it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've made it to this point, thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry for how long this is. I still enjoyed giving you guys all these recommendations. This is basically me recommending you all my favorite books. These are all my favorite books. I think I included all my favorite books. Pretty sure I did. Well, there's also like the Natural series, Inheritance Game, Holly Jackson, but these are just like miscellaneous YA series that I love. So like I didn't include them in this video because there's no really category that I have enough books to recommend. But yeah, if you want more of my content, if you want me, like if you want videos of me reading, like reading books, like reading vlogs, TBRs, wrap-ups, I have all of that on my channel. I also have some travel vlogs. I'm traveling a lot this year, so there will be more travel vlogs in the future. So if you do like that, then definitely follow along. I have some fun videos coming in the next few months. Like as I'm traveling, there's some videos that I have already, like I have ideas of some videos that I'm gonna film. And yeah, it's just gonna be a fun next few months for videos. And yeah, if you also want to follow me on my other socials, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, so you can go follow me there down below. I'm also on Pinterest, Spotify, all those places. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you guys. I love you, and as always, I will see you next video. Bye!